Jasmine Carter took a deep breath as she stood in front of Lincoln High School. The big brick building would be her fifth school in just 3 years. Being the daughter of a Navy SEAL meant moving a lot, and Jasmine was tired of always being the new girl. "You got this, Jazz," she whispered to herself, pulling her purple hoodie tighter around her shoulders. Her dad, Commander Marcus Carter, had dropped her off early with a firm squeeze of her shoulder and his usual advice: stay alert, stay confident. At 16, Jasmine was used to her father's military way of talking. Since she was 7, he had trained her every morning before school. Push-ups, running, and even some fighting moves that he said were just for defense. Those morning training sessions had made Jasmine strong, but they also made her different from other girls her age. Jasmine walked through the main doors, keeping her head down. Her dark eyes scanned everything around her. Another habit her father had taught her: always know your surroundings, he would say during their training. She noticed the groups of students already forming in the hallway, the jocks in their team jackets, the kids with books hugged to their chests. And then she saw them. A group of 4 girls stood by the lockers, all wearing similar outfits, tight jeans and colorful tops. The blonde girl in the middle laughed loudly, flipping her hair as she talked, but something about her laugh seemed mean. Jasmine had seen girls like her before, the kind who ruled schools with fear and harsh words. "That's Brittany Miller," a quiet voice said beside Jasmine. She turned to see a small Asian girl with glasses looking at the group. "She pretty much runs this school. It's best to stay out of her way." "Thanks for the warning," Jasmine said. "I'm Jasmine. Just started today." "I'm Lily," the girl replied, pushing her glasses up. "If you want, I can show you to the office to get your schedule." Jasmine nodded, grateful for the help. As they walked past Brittany's group, she felt the girl's eyes following them. Jasmine kept her face calm, but inside, a warning bell rang. Those girls meant trouble. In the office, Jasmine got her class list and locker number. Her first class was math with Mr. Peterson. Lily smiled when she saw this. "That's my first class too," she said. "You can sit with me if you want." The first few classes went smoothly. Jasmine was good at math and science, thanks to her dad making sure she kept up with her studies despite all the moving. By lunchtime, she was feeling more relaxed. The cafeteria was loud and packed with students. Jasmine followed Lily to a table in the corner. As they ate, Jasmine noticed Brittany and her friends at a table in the center of the room. They were like queens on their thrones, with other students coming up to talk to them before quickly walking away. "They've been that way since middle school," Lily explained, following Jasmine's gaze. "Brittany's dad owns half the businesses in town, so she thinks she owns the school." Jasmine nodded, taking a bite of her sandwich. She wasn't looking for trouble. Her dad had made her promise to stay out of fights at this new school. After what happened at her last school in California, Commander Carter had been clear: use your training only when you have no other choice. But trouble wasn't always something you looked for. Sometimes it found you. And as Brittany's cold eyes locked with Jasmine's across the cafeteria, she knew it was only a matter of time before she would be tested. For now, though, Jasmine just smiled at Lily and asked about their next class. One day at a time, she told herself. That was another thing her dad always said: just take it one day at a time. The next day, Jasmine woke up at 5:30 a.m. This was her routine no matter where they lived. She found her father already in their small backyard, setting up for their morning workout. "Ready for day 2?" Commander Carter asked, his voice strong but kind. He was tall and fit, with the same dark eyes as Jasmine. "Yes, sir," she replied, falling into the push-up position beside him. For the next hour, they trained together, running in place, sit-ups, and then the defense moves her father had been teaching her for years. Jasmine moved her body with skill, blocking her father's slow punches and escaping from his holds. "Remember," he said as they finished, "these skills are like fire. Good when used right, dangerous when used wrong." "I know, Dad." Jasmine said, only for protection. At school, Jasmine found Lily waiting by her locker. The smaller girl smiled shyly. How was your first day? Lily asked. Not bad, Jasmine answered, grabbing her books. Thanks for showing me around. They'd walked to class together. In the hallway, Jasmine noticed a boy bump hard into Lily, making her books fall to the floor. The boy just laughed and kept walking. He wore the same team jacket as the boys who sat near Brittany at lunch. Jasmine helped Lily pick up her books. Does that happen a lot? Lily looked down. Sometimes. They're Brittany's friends. They think it's fun to mess with me. Jasmine felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Why you? I'm an easy target, I guess, Lily said quietly. I'm small, I'm smart, and my parents own the Chinese restaurant in town. Brittany started calling me names in 7th grade, and it just got worse. In gym class, they had to run laps around the field. Jasmine held back, staying with Lily even though she could run much faster. Coach Reynolds watched them with interest. Carter, she called when class was ending. You're holding back. You run like you've been trained. Jasmine shrugged. My dad's in the military. We run together. Coach nodded. You should try out for track. We could use someone like you. At lunch, Jasmine and Lily sat at the same corner table. Jasmine was telling Lily about living in different states when a shadow fell across their table. She looked up to see Brittany and her 3 friends standing there. So, new girl, Brittany said, placing her hands on the table and leaning forward. Heard you're a military brat. Jasmine stayed calm. My dad's in the Navy. Brittany smirked. Must be hard, always moving around, never having real friends. She looked at Lily. Though I see you've already found the bottom of the social ladder. Lily looked down at her food, her face red. Jasmine felt that anger again, but remembered her promise to her dad. We're just trying to eat lunch, Jasmine said evenly. Everyone needs to know where they fit in here. Brittany continued, ignoring Jasmine's words. She reached over and took an apple from Lily's tray. And right now, you're sitting with the school loser. Jasmine watched as Brittany bit into Lily's apple and then dropped it back on the tray. The other girls laughed. You should join us tomorrow, said one of Brittany's friends, a tall girl with red hair. You're too pretty to hang with losers. Jasmine looked at Lily, who seemed smaller than ever in her seat. Then she looked back at Brittany. I'm good right here, thanks, Jasmine said firmly. Brittany's smile dropped. Your choice, new girl, but you just made a big mistake. As they walked away, Jasmine saw Lily's hands shaking. Don't worry about them, Jasmine said, pushing Lily's tray toward her. Eat your lunch. You shouldn't have done that, Lily whispered. Now they'll target you too. Jasmine shrugged. I've dealt with worse. What Lily didn't know was that Jasmine had faced bullies before. And what Brittany didn't know was that she had just challenged someone who had been trained to never back down. For the next few days, Jasmine felt eyes on her everywhere she went. Brittany's friends would whisper when she walked by. In class, someone threw paper balls at her back. Jasmine ignored it all. Her father had taught her that reaction was what bullies wanted. On Thursday, Jasmine was at her locker when she heard a commotion down the hall. She turned to see Lily pressed against the wall, surrounded by Brittany and 2 of her friends. Lily's books were on the floor, and her glasses sat crooked on her face. Please, Lily was saying, her voice shaking. I need to get to class. Did you finish the math homework? Brittany asked, holding out her hand. Because I need it. I can help you with yours, Lily offered. Brittany laughed. Why would I do it when you can do it for me? Hand it over, or things will get worse for you. Jasmine closed her locker and walked toward them. Students in the hall moved aside, watching with wide eyes. Everyone knew what happened to people who got in Brittany's way. Everything okay here? Jasmine asked, stopping beside them. Brittany turned to her, eyes narrow. Mind your own business, new girl. Lily is my friend, so it is my business, Jasmine said calmly. She bent down and picked up Lily's books. We need to get to class. The tall, red-haired girl stepped forward. Look, you don't know how things work here yet. Brittany asked for something, and Lily's going to give it to her. That's how it goes. Jasmine handed the books to Lily. Not today. Brittany moved closer until her face was inches from Jasmine's. Jasmine could smell her sweet perfume. You think you're tough. You have no idea who you're messing with. Jasmine didn't back up. Her father had taught her never to show fear. I'm not looking for trouble, but Lily doesn't have to give you anything. Brittany suddenly pushed Jasmine's shoulder hard. Jasmine's body automatically adjusted, her feet in the right position to keep her balance, just like in training. She didn't push back. Move, Jasmine said quietly. Her voice was low but strong. Something in her tone made Brittany pause. For a second, doubt crossed her face. Then she covered it with a laugh. This isn't over, Brittany said, backing away. Not even close. She pointed at Lily. And you better have that homework for me by lunch, or else. After they left, Lily looked at Jasmine with fear in her eyes. Why did you do that? No one stands up to Brittany. Someone should, Jasmine said. Come on, we'll be late for class. During lunch, they sat at a different table, far from where Brittany usually sat. Jasmine watched as Lily picked at her food. You need to eat, Jasmine said. I'm too nervous, Lily replied. Brittany's going to make my life worse now. What if she couldn't? Jasmine asked. What if you could stop her? Lily laughed without humor. How? I'm not strong like you. I can't even look her in the eye. Jasmine fought for a moment. My dad says that strength isn't about muscles. It's about mind and spirit. Easy for him to say. He's a Navy SEAL. He wasn't always, Jasmine said. He told me that when he was young, he was bullied too. That's part of why he joined the Navy. Lily looked up, surprised. Really? Jasmine nodded. What if I taught you some of what he taught me? Not to fight, but to stand strong. I don't know. Just basic stuff, Jasmine continued. How to stand so you can't be pushed over easily. How to speak so your voice doesn't shake. For the first time that day, Lily smiled a little. You'd do that for me. That's what friends do, Jasmine said. We could start after school. My house isn't far. What neither of them noticed was that at a nearby table, a boy named Marcus had heard everything. He was on the basketball team, one of the boys who sat with Brittany sometimes. But unlike the others, he had never liked how Brittany treated people. And he had just found a story that Brittany needed to hear. After school, Lily followed Jasmine home. They walked 6 blocks from Lincoln High to a small but neat house with a well-kept yard. Commander Carter's truck was not in the driveway. Dad's at the base until dinner, Jasmine explained as she unlocked the door. We have the place to ourselves. Inside, the house was clean and simple. Photos of Jasmine and her father at different military bases lined the walls. In most pictures, Jasmine was smiling next to her tall, serious-looking father. Where's your mom? Lily asked, looking at the photos. She died when I was 4, Jasmine said. Cancer. It's been just me and Dad since then. I'm sorry, Lily said. Jasmine shrugged. It's okay. Dad says she was the strongest person he ever knew. Jasmine led Lily to the backyard. It was small but had a flat, grassy area that Commander Carter used for their morning workouts. First thing Dad taught me was how to stand, Jasmine said. She showed Lily how to position her feet slightly apart, knees bent a little. Bullies want to make you feel small, but your body can help your mind feel strong. For the next hour, Jasmine taught Lily basic stances and how to keep her balance if someone pushed her. Lily was nervous at first, but soon started to enjoy it. Now let's practice your voice, Jasmine said. When you talk to Brittany, you look down and speak quietly. That tells her you're scared. But I am scared, Lily admitted. Everyone gets scared, Jasmine said. My dad says being brave isn't about not feeling fear. It's about doing what's right even when you're afraid. They practiced speaking in clear, firm voices. By the time they finished, Lily was standing taller than Jasmine had ever seen. Same time tomorrow, Jasmine asked as they walked back toward school so Lily could catch her bus. Lily nodded. Thanks, Jasmine. No one's ever helped me like this before. At the same time across town, Brittany sat in her large bedroom with her friends. The walls were pink, and expensive clothes spilled from her closet. The new girl thinks she's so tough, Brittany said, painting her nails bright red. Someone needs to teach her a lesson. I heard something today, said a voice from the doorway. They looked up to see Marcus, the basketball player who had overheard Jasmine and Lily at lunch. He leaned against the doorframe, his tall body casual but his face serious. What do you want, Marcus? Brittany asked, annoyed. They had dated briefly last year before she got bored with him. Thought you might want to know who you're messing with, he said. That new girl, Jasmine? Her dad's a Navy SEAL. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what Navy SEALs were, elite soldiers who went through the toughest training in the world. So what? Brittany said, but her voice wasn't as confident. So, Marcus continued, I overheard her telling Lily that her dad trained her every morning. Has been since she was a kid. You're saying she knows how to fight? Asked the red-haired girl, looking worried. Marcus shrugged. I'm just saying, maybe pick on someone else. Brittany's eyes narrowed. Are you defending her? No, Marcus said quickly. Just giving you information. Do what you want with it. He left, closing the door behind him. Brittany was quiet for a long moment, thinking. Then a slow smile spread across her face. This changes nothing, she said. In fact, it makes it better. Little Miss Navy SEAL thinks she's so tough. Let's see how tough she really is when it's 4 against 1. Her friends exchanged nervous looks, but no one dared disagree with Brittany when she had that look in her eyes. The next morning at school, Jasmine felt the change as soon as she walked through the doors. Students whispered as she passed, and some even stepped back. Something had changed, but she didn't know what. Then she saw Lily running toward her, face pale with worry. Jasmine, Lily called. They know about your dad. Everyone's talking about it. What do you mean they know about my dad? Jasmine asked, pulling Lily to a quiet corner by the lockers. Marcus told Brittany that your dad is a Navy SEAL and that he trains you, Lily explained, her voice shaking. Now everyone's talking about it. Some kids are saying you know how to kill people with your bare hands. Jasmine sighed. This had happened at her last school too. Once people found out about her dad, they either stayed far away from her or tried to test her. It's not like that, Jasmine said. Dad taught me to defend myself, not hurt others. Brittany's telling everyone you threatened her yesterday, Lily continued. She's saying you tried to hit her. Jasmine shook her head. That's a lie. I never even raised my hands. The first bell rang, and they had to get to class. Throughout the morning, Jasmine noticed the stares and whispers. In math class, the seat next to her remained empty even though the room was full. Only Lily stayed by her side. During gym class, things got worse. As they changed in the locker room, girls moved away from Jasmine like she had a disease. What's wrong? Jasmine asked one girl she had talked to before. Why is everyone acting weird? The girl looked nervous. Brittany said you bragged about beating up girls at your old school, that you got kicked out for it. That's not true, Jasmine said, but the girl had already walked away. Coach Reynolds split them into teams for volleyball. No one wanted Jasmine on their team until the coach assigned her. When Jasmine spiked the ball hard over the net, scoring a point, her own teammates looked scared instead of happy. At lunch, Jasmine and Lily sat alone. Even their usual corner table had been abandoned by others who normally sat there. This always happens, Jasmine said quietly. At every new school. Once they find out about Dad, I become either a freak or a threat. I'm still here, Lily said with a small smile. Jasmine smiled back, grateful. As they ate, Marcus stopped by their table. He was tall with light brown skin and serious eyes. "Can I sit?" he asked. Jasmine shrugged. "Free country." Marcus sat down. "Look, I want to say sorry. I didn't mean for all this to happen. I just thought Brittany should know who she was messing with so she'd back off." "Well, that didn't work," Jasmine said. "Now everyone thinks I'm some kind of violent freak." "I know," Marcus said. "Brittany twisted everything I said. But I came to warn you. She's planning something. After school by the field, she and her friends are going to try to embarrass you, make you lose your cool." "Why are you telling me this?" Jasmine asked. "Aren't you friends with them?" Marcus looked down. "Not really. My dad works for her dad's company. She only lets me hang around because of that." He paused. "And I don't like how she treats people, especially Lily." Lily looked surprised at this. "Thanks for the warning," Jasmine said. "But I can handle Brittany." After Marcus left, Lily turned to Jasmine with worried eyes. "What are you going to do? If they're planning something after school, maybe we should just avoid the field." Jasmine thought about it. Running away would be easier. But her father had taught her that bullies never stop unless someone stands up to them. "I'm going to the field," she decided. "But you should go home another way." "No," Lily said firmly, surprising Jasmine. "You stood up for me. I'm not leaving you alone." The rest of the day passed slowly. In each class, Jasmine felt the tension building. By last period, her stomach was tight with worry. Not because she was afraid of Brittany, but because she was afraid of what might happen, what she might do, if pushed too far. As the final bell rang, Jasmine remembered her father's most important lesson. The strongest person in a fight is the one who knows when not to fight at all. She hoped she could be that strong today. Jasmine and Lily walked slowly toward the field behind the school. Many students were heading that way too, talking in excited voices. Word had spread about something happening. "We don't have to do this," Lily said, her voice quiet. Jasmine took a deep breath. "Yes, we do. If we run now, they'll never stop." The field was usually empty after school except for sports teams. Today, at least 30 students stood in a loose circle near the bleachers. In the middle stood Brittany and her 3 friends. When Brittany saw Jasmine, she smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Here comes the tough girl," she called out. The crowd turned to look at Jasmine and Lily. Some students stepped back, giving them room. Jasmine walked forward calmly, stopping a few feet from Brittany. "What's this about?" "Everyone wants to see how tough the Navy SEAL's daughter really is," Brittany said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "You've been acting like you're better than everyone else since you got here." "That's not true," Jasmine said. "I just want to go to school like everyone else." "Then why have you been threatening people?" Brittany asked. "Why did you try to hit me yesterday?" Jasmine shook her head. "I never did that. You know it, and I know it." Brittany stepped closer. "Are you calling me a liar?" Jasmine could feel the crowd watching. She knew what Brittany was doing. Trying to make her angry, trying to make her lose control. It was the same trick bullies always used. "I don't want to fight you," Jasmine said clearly. "There's no reason for this." Brittany laughed. "Of course you don't, because you know I'd beat you, Navy SEAL training or not." Some kids in the crowd laughed. Jasmine saw Marcus at the edge of the circle, watching with worried eyes. He started to step forward, but Jasmine gave a small shake of her head. This was her problem to solve. "Let's go," Jasmine said to Lily, turning away. "Yeah, run away with your little friend," Brittany called. Then, in a mean voice, she added, "No wonder your dad has to train you. He probably knew no one would want to be friends with a loser like you." Jasmine stopped. She felt a rush of anger, but pushed it down. "Or maybe," Brittany continued, "he trains you because he knows you're weak. Just like your friend here." At that moment, one of Brittany's friends stepped forward and pushed Lily hard. Lily, who wasn't ready, fell to the ground with a cry of pain. Something changed in Jasmine. She turned slowly, her eyes now focused and calm. "Don't touch her again," Jasmine said, her voice quiet but firm. The girl who had pushed Lily laughed and moved toward her again. Without seeming to move fast, Jasmine was suddenly between them. When the girl tried to push past her to get to Lily, Jasmine simply shifted her weight, used the girl's own momentum, and redirected her away. The girl stumbled, surprised by how easily Jasmine had moved her. "What the girl started to say, but Brittany cut her off. "See, she's attacking us," Brittany shouted, "just like I said." "I didn't touch her," Jasmine said calmly. Everyone saw that. The crowd murmured. They had indeed seen that Jasmine hadn't hit or pushed anyone. Brittany's face turned red with anger. This wasn't going how she had planned. She had wanted Jasmine to look like the bad one, the violent one. Instead, Jasmine was staying calm while helping Lily up from the ground. "You think you're so special with your Navy SEAL dad," Brittany said, her voice getting louder. "Let's see how special you are when it's 4 against 1. She nodded to her friends, and they spread out, surrounding Jasmine and Lily. The crowd grew quiet, waiting to see what would happen. Jasmine turned slowly, keeping Lily behind her. She moved into the stance her father had taught her, relaxed but ready. Her eyes watched all 4 girls at once. "Last chance," Jasmine said quietly. "Walk away now, and we all go home. No one gets hurt." Brittany's answer was a quick step forward and a swinging hand aimed at Jasmine's face. Time seemed to slow down for Jasmine as Brittany's hand came toward her face. Years of training with her father took over. She didn't think. Her body just moved. Jasmine shifted slightly to the right. Brittany's hand missed her face completely. The force of Brittany's swing made her stumble forward. Jasmine didn't hit back. She didn't need to. The crowd let out a surprise sound. Brittany caught herself and turned around, her face red with anger and shame. "Lucky dodge," she spat out. She nodded to her friends. "Get her." The red-haired girl and another with blonde hair moved toward Jasmine from different sides. Jasmine kept her breathing steady. Her father's voice echoed in her head. "Never throw the first punch. Use their energy against them." The red-haired girl reached Jasmine first, trying to grab her arm. Jasmine stepped into the movement instead of pulling away. This surprised the girl, making her lose balance. Jasmine gently guided her forward, past her body. The girl tripped over her own feet and fell to the ground. At the same time, the blonde girl swung at Jasmine from behind. Jasmine ducked low, and the girl's hand hit only air. As Jasmine rose, she simply placed her foot where the blonde girl was stepping. The girl tripped and fell forward. The crowd was completely silent now. Jasmine hadn't thrown a single punch, yet 2 of Brittany's friends were on the ground, looking confused. "She didn't even touch them," someone in the crowd whispered loudly. Brittany's last friend, a tall girl with dark hair, looked nervous. She took a step back. "What are you doing?" Brittany screamed at her. "Get her." The tall girl shook her head. "This isn't right, Brittany. 4 against 1 isn't fair, and she's not even fighting back." Brittany looked around wildly. Her plan was falling apart. She had wanted to prove Jasmine was violent and dangerous. Instead, Jasmine was making them look like the bad ones. "Fine, I'll do it myself," Brittany shouted. She charged at Jasmine, arms out to push her down. Jasmine waited until the last second, then simply stepped aside while placing her hand lightly on Brittany's back. Brittany's own speed and anger carried her forward, and she fell hard to the ground. The crowd gasped. Then someone started clapping. Soon others joined in. Brittany stood up slowly, dirt on her clothes and tears in her eyes. "This isn't over," she said, her voice shaking. "Yes, it is," said a deep voice from the edge of the crowd. Everyone turned to see Mr. Thompson. The the school principal, standing there with his arms crossed. Next to him was Coach Reynolds, who had a small smile on her face. My office. Now, all of you, Mr. Thompson said, pointing to Brittany and her friends. But she started it. Brittany pointed at Jasmine. She used her Navy SEAL training on us. Mr. Thompson raised an eyebrow. That's interesting, because Coach Reynolds and I have been watching for the past 5 minutes. We saw you and your friends surround these 2 girls. We saw you swing first. And most interesting of all, we saw Miss Carter here defend herself without ever throwing a single punch. The crowd began to break up as Mr. Thompson led Brittany and her friends toward the school building. Coach Reynolds walked over to Jasmine and Lily. That was impressive control, Carter, she said. Where did you learn to move like that? Jasmine looked down. My dad taught me. He says the best way to win a fight is to not fight at all. Coach Reynolds nodded. Smart man, your father. You two should head home now. I have a feeling things will be different around here tomorrow. As they walked home, Lily couldn't stop talking about what had happened. That was amazing. You didn't even hit them once, and they all ended up on the ground. Jasmine smiled a little. That's the point of what Dad teaches me. It's not about hurting people. It's about stopping them from hurting you or others. Do you think Brittany will leave us alone now? Lily asked. Jasmine thought for a moment. Maybe not right away, but bullies only have power when people are afraid of them. Today showed everyone that they don't need to be afraid anymore. When they reached Jasmine's house, Commander Carter was in the driveway, washing his truck. He took one look at Jasmine's face and put down his sponge. What happened? He asked. Jasmine told her father everything that had happened. They sat at the kitchen table while Lily waited nervously in the living room. Commander Carter listened without interrupting, his face serious. When Jasmine finished, she looked down at her hands. I tried not to fight, Dad. I really did. Commander Carter was quiet for a moment. Then he reached across the table and put his large hand over Jasmine's. I'm proud of you, he said simply. Jasmine looked up, surprised. But there was a fight. I promised no more fights. You didn't start it. You didn't throw a single punch. You protected yourself and your friend using only what was necessary. He smiled slightly. That's exactly what I've been teaching you all these years. Relief washed over Jasmine's face. Her father wasn't angry. So I'm not in trouble. Commander Carter shook his head. Not with me. But I should probably call the school, see what Mr. Thompson has to say. While her father made the call, Jasmine went to the living room where Lily was waiting. Is your dad mad? Lily asked. No, Jasmine said, smiling. He's proud. He should be, Lily said. You were amazing out there. Jasmine shrugged. Anyone can learn what I did. It just takes practice. Could you really teach me? Lily asked, her voice hopeful. If you want to learn, I'll teach you, Jasmine promised. The next morning, Commander Carter drove both girls to school. He had spoken with Mr. Thompson the night before. Remember, he said as they got out of the truck, true strength isn't about winning fights. It's about having the wisdom to know which battles matter. The school felt different as they walked through the doors. Students who had ignored Jasmine before now smiled or nodded at her. A boy from her English class even stopped to tell her that what she did was really cool. At her locker, Marcus was waiting. Hey, he said, looking nervous. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I'm fine, Jasmine said. Thanks for the warning yesterday. Marcus nodded. Brittany and her friends got suspended for a week, and they have to do community service when they come back. He paused. Everyone's talking about what happened. How you took them all down without even throwing a punch. I didn't take anyone down, Jasmine corrected. They fell because they were off balance. That's the point of what my dad taught me. Use their own energy against them. It was still impressive, Marcus said. He looked at Lily. Both of you standing your ground like that. Lily smiled, standing a little straighter than she used to. In first period, Mr. Peterson made an announcement about bullying and how the school had zero tolerance for it. He didn't mention names, but everyone knew what he was talking about. At lunch, Jasmine and Lily found they had company. Marcus sat down with them, along with two other students who had never talked to them before. "Mind if we join you?" asked a girl named Tasha who was in Jasmine's history class. "Not at all," Jasmine said, making room. The conversation was a little awkward at first, but soon they were all talking and laughing. Jasmine noticed that Lily was speaking up more, sharing her thoughts without looking down or speaking softly. After school, Coach Reynolds caught up with Jasmine in the hallway. "Carter, I've been thinking," she said. "We need a self-defense club at this school. Nothing violent, just basic techniques to help students feel safer and more confident. Kind of like what you showed yesterday." Jasmine was surprised. "That sounds like a good idea. I was hoping you might help me run it," Coach continued. "With your father's permission, of course." "Me?" Jasmine couldn't believe it. At her old schools, she had always been the outsider. "You've got skills that could help a lot of students here," Coach said, "especially those who've dealt with bullying. What do you say?" Jasmine thought about it, teaching others what her father had taught her, not to fight, but to stand strong, to have confidence in themselves. "I'll have to ask my dad, but I think I'd like that," she said finally. As she walked home with Lily that day, Jasmine felt different. For the first time in years, she wasn't counting the days until they would move again. For the first time, she was thinking about staying. "Everything okay?" Lily asked, noticing Jasmine's thoughtful expression. Jasmine nodded. "Yeah, I think it might be, actually." 3 weeks later, the gym was full of students. 20 teenagers stood in lines, following Jasmine's movements as she showed them a simple blocking technique. Commander Carter watched from the side, arms crossed, but with a proud smile on his face. "Remember," Jasmine called out, "this isn't about hurting anyone. It's about protecting yourself and staying safe." The Self-Defense Club had started small, just Lily and a few curious students. But after word spread about what had happened with Brittany, more people wanted to join. Now they met twice a week after school. Lily stood at the front of the group, helping demonstrate the moves Jasmine taught. She no longer looked down when she talked. Her voice was clear and strong, and she smiled more than ever. On the other side of the gym, Coach Reynolds nodded approvingly. The club had been her idea, but Jasmine was the one making it work. Even Mr. Thompson had commented on the positive changes in school since it started. As the students practiced in pairs, Jasmine walked among them, helping where needed. She stopped beside Marcus, who was working with a freshman boy. "Like this," she said, adjusting Marcus's stance slightly. "You want to be solid but not stiff." Marcus nodded. "Thanks, Coach Carter," he said with a grin. Jasmine rolled her eyes at the nickname, but she was smiling too. At the end of practice, everyone gathered in a circle. Jasmine had started this tradition, a moment to talk about what they had learned, not just about self-defense, but about themselves. "Today I want to talk about strength," Jasmine said. "My dad always says there are different kinds of strength. Physical strength is just one kind. There's also strength of mind and strength of heart." The students listened quietly. Even the rowdy boys from the football team were paying attention. "When I first came to this school, I tried to hide who I was," Jasmine continued. "I thought that was the smart thing to do. But I learned that true strength comes from being yourself, even when that's hard." She looked at Lily, who smiled back. "And from standing up for what's right, even when you're scared." After the club ended and students began to leave, a surprising visitor appeared at the gym door. Brittany stood there, looking uncomfortable. She had returned to school a week ago after her suspension, but had kept to herself, without her usual group of friends. The gym went quiet as she walked toward Jasmine. Commander Carter straightened up, watching carefully. "Can I talk to you?" Brittany asked Jasmine, her voice barely audible. Jasmine nodded, and they stepped aside. "I wanted to say," Brittany began, then stopped. She took a deep breath. I'm sorry. For everything. What I did was wrong. Jasmine studied her face. The apology seemed real. Why now? Jasmine asked. Brittany looked down. My dad was really angry about what happened. He made me talk to a counselor. She helped me see that I was being mean because I was scared. Scared of what? Of not being important. Brittany's voice cracked a little. If people weren't afraid of me, I thought they wouldn't respect me. Jasmine understood better than Brittany knew. Everyone wanted to feel strong in their own way. There are better ways to earn respect, she said. Brittany nodded. I know that now. She paused. I saw what you're doing here, teaching people to defend themselves. It's good. You could join, Jasmine offered, surprising herself. Brittany looked shocked. You'd let me, after what I did. Everyone deserves a second chance, Jasmine said. That's something else my dad taught me. From across the gym, Commander Carter watched his daughter. In that moment, she reminded him so much of her mother. Strong but kind, fierce but forgiving. He had taught Jasmine how to fight, but she had learned the harder lesson on her own, how to make peace. As Jasmine walked Brittany over to introduce her to the group, she caught her father's eye. He gave her a small nod that said everything words couldn't. Jasmine had finally found her place, not as the Navy SEAL's daughter or the tough new girl, but as herself, a leader who knew that true strength wasn't about throwing punches, but about healing wounds and building bridges. And as she looked around at her new friends, at Lily standing tall, at Marcus's friendly smile, and even at Brittany's cautious hope for a fresh start, Jasmine knew she was exactly where she needed to be. Some battles were worth fighting, but winning the peace, that was the greater victory.